What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome to another video. So I consult with businesses that are trying to go to 8 figures, and over again, I give the same advice because everybody has like the same problems. And one of those pieces of advice is you need to learn how to tell your story better. Like, regardless of what size business that you have, pretty much any business out there, any founder, you need to learn how to tell your story better because story is the source code of the human experience. It is how people make sense of literally everything that's happening around them. It's how they justify all of their decisions. It's how they think about their place in the universe. So your ability to understand the vehicle of storytelling and how you can use it inside of your business and your products and your team is everything. And what I want to share with you in particular are 3 of the most impactful ways that you can learn to tell your story better. And I'm not just talking about like the act of storytelling, but like thinking about what are the narratives that I'm giving people in my world the opportunity to step into. So the very first one is exactly this, is like story selling. A lot of founders, especially in that like 6 and low 7-figure range, they really hate selling. They hate it because it makes them feel slimy. They feel like they're constantly chasing and pushing. They don't want to feel like a pushy salesperson, right? But if you can introduce story into your sales process, you're no longer chasing people. What you're doing is you're inviting people in. And story is one of the easiest ways to get people to let down their guard. Because when you start telling a story, people instantly ask the question of like, okay, where's this going? Right? They step in. Their guard comes down because you're opening a cognitive loop in their mind that says, I need to know how this ends. Right? Even if the story sucks, they're still like, okay, well, let's see where this actually ends up going. If you lead with facts and features, their mind immediately puts up a shield and starts looking for reasons why those facts and those features of the product or the thing, the service, isn't for them. But if you first frame and, hey, let me tell you a story about Jill. Jill came to us last year, blah, 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 right? Now you're telling Jill's story. And if Jill's story is similar to their story in some meaningful way, that they have a problem beforehand that they're trying to solve, that Jill got the transformation that this person is hopefully getting, then they're suspending their disbelief, they're inserting themselves in the story, and they're starting to see Jill's reality as their own. That's why story is so powerful, by the way. It's like the ultimate empathetic vehicle. When you tell us a story about somebody else, like, you can't help but put yourself into their position and thinking of, and through their lens. And so position your stories that you tell to your customers, to your prospects, around your customers that have already gotten those results. I want you to go and figure out what are your top 3 client results. Figure out what is the 90-second story that you could tell about that person's journey, about their transformation, the results that they got, and then get that story dialed so that when you're sitting down with people, you can easily pull those out based off of whatever is the most common objections or pain points that that prospect is likely to have. Like, if you're sitting down with somebody and you know that their pain point is, I have 3 kids, I'm busy, I don't have the time for this program, then you can tell the story of Marcus, who had exactly that same problem. He's a single father, he has 4 kids, he was working a full-time job, and he found the time to do this because the program only required XYZ, right? You can help this prospect make the decision that's in their best interest by helping frame their experience in the story of somebody who's already been there. That's the first way that you can use story to transform your business, is through story selling. The second is through story scaling. Now, story is not just how we communicate to the world externally. It's how you communicate to the people inside of your business. Story is the transmission vector of culture. Let me repeat that. Story is the transmission vector of culture. It's not values, it's not priorities, it's not the mission statement that you have on the wall. People don't care about that stuff. They will not remember it. Ask me how I know. What they remember is when you frame those values, those mission statements, those priorities in the context of a story. When you wrap it in a story, people can take it along with them, they can remember it. So here's what we did at Escape Climbing that was like super powerful for us. Was like, we initially thought if we just put the values on the wall and we talk about them every week, people are going to get it. But talking about the values didn't actually help people remember the values. What actually started to help them was every week we'd have somebody new sit up from the team and we'd say, hey, that value of pursuit of mastery, give me an example in your week where you saw, either in your workflow or somebody else on the team, really exemplify that particular value. And what that person would then do is they'd stand up and they would tell you a story about a time that they were pursuing mastery inside their job, or they saw somebody else. Like I saw Marta, our shipping manager, do XYZ last week, and I thought that was an amazing. And you tell the story, right? You're giving people stories to remember and then transmit the values that you hold within your team. And I'm telling you, that right there is the only way that I have found to successfully get team members to remember things of importance. So if you have like a 90-day rock or an annual revenue goal that you're trying to hit, you can't just say we're trying to hit 5 million. You have to wrap that 5 million in a story. Otherwise, they will not care. They will not remember. The third way that you can use a story inside of your business to like really transform it is through story staying. So customers will come in and they will largely buy based off the story that they tell themselves about the product or about the service. They don't buy based off of the features, right? We know this. So we can use story at the front end to get people in because that's how people make decisions. But if we want them to stay, if you want to scale, the key to scaling is getting customers to stay. It's not going and getting more and more and more customers. That's part of it. But if you can get your customers to stay longer, you're going to scale faster. And the way that you get people to stay is you give them a story to live into. This is one of the things I think Apple does phenomenally well. Maybe not so much in recent years, but definitely in the mid 2000s when the iPhone and iPad first came out, is Apple was a product that people associated their identities with. They told themselves a story about this is the type of person I am because I am an Apple user. I am creative. I'm one of the crazy ones that's making a difference in the world. I'm anti-corporate culture and PC world. Like that's not me. I'm different. I'm unique. I'm a butterfly, baby. And people stay. Like there's a reason if you're an Apple user, like you've probably been an Apple user for life. Like they don't churn out. And so give your people a story that they can live into. The way that you do this is you map the customer journey. You look through the different transformation points within their story, and you look for opportunities to make that transformation codified through the form of a story. And you give them a narrative, you give them an identity to live into. And once they have that, once they associate that with your brand is XYZ in their mind, and they are a part of it, they will never leave. I'm telling you, like they will be the stickiest, they will be the most fervent fans and advocates of your business that you could ever ask for. And it's simply because they see themselves as part of the story that you have been communicating both to your team and to the world externally. So those are 3 different ways that you can use story, become a master storyteller to help the sales process, to help the scaling process with your team, and to get your customers to stay longer. Do that, business gets a whole lot easier. And here's the other like sneaky thing, it just becomes a whole lot more fun. Like life is more fun when it's told in the form of a story. So go tell yours. I'll see you in the next video.